Hey everyone, my name is SeanArnold and welcome to something a little bit different for my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing a DDD archetype breakdown video with my good friend Necro. How you doing, Necro?
I'm doing fine, Sean. How about
I'm good,
yourself?
thank you. Now Necro approached this idea to me, saying that he's been learning this archetype quite well in a lot of depth, and he would love to do a video to kind of go in full detail as to what they're about. Now, be aware that this will not be a usual video where we either show a deck build or show some deck gameplay footage and talk about strategy. In fact, in this video, we're actually going to talk about the archetype as a whole, who the characters are, what their influences are, talk a bit about the lore and their implications in the Arc V anime, and then, of course, we're going to break down the cards as well and talk about how they are commonly used in the current environment. So, Necro, who are DDDs?
The DD monsters were used by Reiji Akaba in Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V, and Reiji is basically the Kaiba of this anime. He is a really interesting character, I must say. He's a young boy, but he also runs his own company as the CEO.
Did he inherit that from his father, who mystically died in a digital world, or does he have a different story?
He didn't inherit it from his father. However, it's not because of his father's death. It's actually because of more complicated reasons that just basically dive more and more into the Arc V plot.
Gotcha. Cool. So what does DD stand for? Is it
the DD monster? Well, DD is.
So I was gonna say, is it different dimension? Because we've had DD before, haven't we?
Yeah, there are two different kinds of DD now, both different dimension. However, do not get these confused for the D.D series.
Oh.
Like DD Warrior Lady. These monsters are more fiendish than anything.
So, is DD a anagram for anything? Does it still mean different dimension, or does it mean something else?
It still means a different dimension. However, in the anime and manga, it's usually pronounced as Double D.
Ah, I see. Gotcha.
Kind of like Double D from Ed and Eddie.
So there are no relationships between these cards and the old DDs themselves.
The only relationship you'll see between the two archetypes is actually just one card art.
Oh, you talk about DD Recruit?
Yeah, that's the only card art that you'll see the actual DD monsters on.
I'm looking at DD Recruit here, and I can see the King from Imperial Custom. I'm seeing DD Warrior Lady, Warrior of the Wasteland, and DD Assailant, and someone in a big cloak who I'm not too sure about.
I think that is DD M.
DD M, yeah, yes, or DD Guide, one of the two. Either way, that's not the DD we're talking about today. Today we are talking about our double Ds. So, who are the double D monsters?
Well, one thing that I like to get out of the way is just their influence.
Oh, okay.
The DD monsters, as you can tell by some of these card arts, are based off of mythological creatures, such as Cerberus being obviously based off of Cerberus, Lilith based off the Lilith, Nighthowl, which is based off the Hellhound, and other famous monsters. However, that's not the only source of influence they have. In terms of the normal DD monsters, there's also the Savant monsters, which are based off of famous scientists.
I see, we have quite a few of those.
Yeah, we have a few Savant monsters. They usually release Savants in a pair of two. And then you have the actual DDD monsters, which are based off of kings.
So I'm looking at on screen here, we've got King Armageddon, Kaiser the Conqueror, Leonidas, Abyss Ragnarok, Pendragon, and Apocalypse.
Yep. You'll see that more so when we get to the extra deck monsters, but yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, so I guess now we can start with the basic overview of the archetype.
What is the DD playstyle? From just from the outsider point of view, as someone who's never ever played it but has played against people playing it, it looks as if though they are trying to accomplish building a deck archetype which can support synchros, XEs, and fusions all together at once.
Well, that's pretty much what DD's monsters are. They are an archetype that allows you to use the 4 chief summoning methods. So, sorry, rituals. But yeah, mostly the deck in the modern age plays as a fusion and synchro spam deck. with running some of these monsters as interference in some cases.
And from what we've seen in recent results from regional tournaments and top 8s, DDs, they've been doing pretty well for being what could have been such a complicated mission.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about the Archetype as a whole. Let's talk about some of these cards which have been released there and what they try to do.
Alright, so the first ever monster we're going to look at is DD Cerberus. It's a level 4 Dark Fiend Pendulum monster. It's in that 1800 attack and 600 defense at scale of 6. With its pendulum effect being, you can target one monster you control, turn the DD monster's level to 4, and if you do, it'll gain 400 attack and defense. It's not the best pendulum monster effect in the set. However, I have seen this in the early ages of the deck be run as a way to run their rank 4 XE monster.
Gotcha. So, one thing which I like with Archetype breakdowns is when the person writing the guide often tells me how many copies should we consider running between 0 and 3. So, in your opinion, if I was someone that's new to building a DDD deck, how many copies of Cerberus should I run?
I mean, the modern build would be you would run none. However, if you're running like an old school build, I would at least recommend one build because at the very least, its monster effect also makes up for some of its lackluster that the pendulum effect does. When if you pendulum summon this guy from the hand, or you control another DD monster, you can target a continuous spell in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. This will come into play later.
So, between 0 to 1 copies.
Yeah, 0 to 1 copies, depending on your build, but 0 in the modern.
Gotcha. So next we have DD Lilith. Who is she?
DD Lilith was originally the tank of this archetype. Level 4 Fiend Effect monster.
2100 defensive booty.
Yep, it has a really strong booty on it.
I like
its
effect. Booty.
Its effect reads, when it's normal or special summon, you can activate one of these effects. Either A, you can target a DD monster in your graveyard to recycle it back to your hand, or you can add a DD Pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand.
That's great. Good recycling effects there.
Yep, I used to run this monster at 3 because of how good it was, but it's not really run in the modern age because the deck is focused like in the modern age. It's usually just turbo. So the modern age doesn't really consider this card that good.
So it's still good for what it can do, but it's just not good in the current environment.
Yeah, which the current environment just plagued by the turbo, which I hope that the link summoning will definitely slow that down.
Gotcha. So maybe we'll see Lilith again, but so how many copies in the current build would you say? 0 overall?
Current build 0. In the past build, I recommend at least 2 to 3.
Current builds run 0 of her, but don't sleep on this card. She's still pretty good for what she can do.
Yeah, because at the very least you can sleep on this card.
Right, next we have DD Night Howl.
DD Night Howl was their first ever tuner monster. A level 3 Dark Tuner with 300 attack and 600 defense, with the ability that when he is normal summoned, target DD monster in your graveyard, special summon it. However, you can't special summon a monster for the rest of the turn except for Fiend monsters. That monster will lose its attack and defense, and you'll take 1,000 damage if it gets destroyed.
Now, this is something which I didn't ask you before, but I guess now's a good time. Is the entire deck Archetype Fiend, despite their variety of different influences?
Yes, all the monsters are Fiends.
Wow, that makes this effect really, really good.
Yep. I mean, the main thing, though, is the fact that you can switch some Fiend monsters for the rest of the turn, yeah, but you're normally going to want to go into a monster immediately with Night Howl. One of the best combos I used to do was Night Howl into Lilith, and then Lilith into Recycle.
Oh, I see, because it doesn't negate her effect.
Yep, and then go for a level 7. But I'll get into the other options later. But your main option was their Synchro monster, which I'll go over later.
Cool. All right, moving on. We've got Proud Chevalier, looking a pretty badass card.
Proud Chevalier and Proud Ogre, they're like a manga set actually. They were Reiji's original main pendulum scale in the special manga when he debuted. And they have similar effects. With Proud Chevalier, in the pendulum zone, you pay 500 life points to make your opponent's monster lose 500 attack. And if you don't have a pendulum card to scale, it'll lose one of its scale and become a scale 5.
Is that...
And when it's normal summoned, you'll...
Sorry, go ahead.
When it's normal summoned, you'll just... When you're normal summoned, you can add it back. You can add a pendulum monster from your extra deck to the hand.
Pendulum effect, is that only activated in your phase? You can't activate it in either phase?
Nope, unless it says during the other player's turn.
That's unfortunate, but still, that's not bad. So...
Yeah, and then you have Proud Ogre, which once returned, you can pay 500 life points to target DD monster you control and have it gain 500 attack. And has the same scale lowering as Chevalier. However, his monster effect is that when he's normal summoned, you get to special summon a Dark Pendulum monster from the extra deck. But its effects will be negated, and you can't special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except for DD monsters.
Interesting. Now, I have a feeling that the cards that these two supported, we haven't necessarily gotten to yet, particularly since Night Howl, Lilith, and Cerberus cannot be pendulum summoned by these two. But how many copies would you run of these cards here?
Honestly, I never found any utility in them, even in the past. Wow. These two, I found Proud Ogre a little bit good, but Chevalier was just overall not that good.
The scale is quite high, which is a little bit off-putting. It means you really can only summon level 7 monsters, and
yeah, and even though the main boss monsters of this deck are 7 and 8, if you were to use the proper scale with Proud Ogre, you'd only be able to summon level 7s, which, yeah, that kind of limits your variety.
Let's see. So we're talking about 0?
Talk about 0/0.
Alright, moving on then.
Next we have our first two Savant monsters. We have Savant Galele and Savant Kepler.
Now these scales look a lot better.
Yep, 1 to 10. That is the main scale of the DD monsters. And until these guys showed up, the highest scale we've ever actually seen were Cleafords. But now the highest scale in the game has been taken up by the Supreme King cards. Anyway, so going into this, we have Savant Galele, a level 10 pendulum Dark Fiend pendulum monster at a scale of 1. And right off the bat, you're going to get to see the gimmick of these guys, of the Savants in general. You cannot pendulum summon monsters except DD monsters. And this effect cannot be negated. So it's kind of like a watered down version of the Klee monsters.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a lot of archetype based scales prevent them from summoning non-archetype monsters.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they worded it like this because the Klee monsters prevent you from special summoning at all. Anyway, so Galele.
I want to ask though, this is except DD monsters. Does that include DDD?
Yes, DD monsters and DDD monsters follow the same path.
Good to know.
Anyway, so Savant Galele and Savant Kepler, they run their own gimmick in the pendulum zones, where for Galele, during each of your standby phases, his scale will increase by 2, and Kepler's will decrease by 2.
Okay. Huh.
It basically meaning that first, like after a turn passes, if you have both these guys as your pendulum scales, then you'll have a scale 3 and a scale 8.
Why?
And then it'll keep going. It'll keep going and going until they basically swap roles and Galele becomes a scale 10 and Kepler becomes a scale 1.
So is that some kind of gimmick to do with the story of the anime? Is this to do with some of their lore? Why is this a thing?
Oh, it's actually kind of interesting. This was actually a gimmick that happened because at the time of Arc V, only Yuya was able to pendulum summon monsters. These are artificial pendulum monsters that Reiji had crafted, and so because they were experimental, they glitched out. So I guess you could say this is Konami's clever way of adding that feature into these cards.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Anyway, in terms of monster effects, though, Galele's effect is that during either player's turn, you can discard this card to target DD or Dark Contract card you control, and return to the hand. I could see some utility in this, but it's not really that good in the modern age.
Oh, that's a shame.
Kepler, on the other hand, is a beast on his own and is always run at 3. No matter what build you're running. His monster effect reads that on normal or special summon, you can activate one of these 2 effects. Either target another DD card you control and return it to the hand, or you search your deck for a Dark Contract card. This is very important because the Dark Contract cards are basically helping you enable your big plays.
That sounds fantastic. I wanted to ask you a bit more about the designs. What the hell am I looking at here? It looks like they've got a head at the top with, I don't know, dreadlock mustaches, and then their bodies are spaceships? What am I looking at?
I mean, it's actually very interesting to note that the savants, they're actually based off of what their scientists mostly study. Like, if you look at Galilei closely, see he's partially a telescope. And Galileo himself was an astronomer.
Absolutely. That makes sense now.
And Kepler is based off a planetary model.
Interesting.
I believe it was Kepler who proved that the planets were heliocentric.
Gotcha. Wow, that's pretty clever. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I love the artwork in this game. There's just so much to learn from just by analyzing the artwork.
Yep, definitely.
That's awesome. So moving on from these last 4 pendulum monsters, we are now back to the effect monsters. And hello, my old friend.
DD Baphomet. DD Baphomet, level 4 Fiend monster, 1400 attack, 1800 defense. Rocking the ability that once returned, you can target a DD monster you control that has a level, except Baphomet, declare a level from 1 to 8, and change its level to that level. However, you can't summon for the rest of the turn, except for DD monsters.
Okay. I'm seeing it maybe being a bit slow, but at the same time, I can see this being useful. Being able to change a scale, say maybe a tuner to any level could be kind of cool. How effective is Baphomet?
I've seen some people run him at 1, but in the modern era, he's a none.
Oh, that's a shame, Baphomet.
Because remember, this is the modern age of Turbo.
No, absolutely.
On the contrast, though, DD Pandora.
Ooh, very cool looking card.
DD Pandora is a level 5 Dark Fiend effect monster, 1700 attack, 2100 defense. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, or when this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and sent to your graveyard, and you control no cards, you can draw 2.
Sounds very specific.
This card has been deemed the worst card in the DD archetype.
Yeah. I mean, the level alone makes it slow.
Like, it's basically Lilith if you got rid of the recycling capability for a very specific draw effect and just gave it a little bit more attack.
Yeah. So leave this alone. Sell all your copies.
Leave this alone in the dumpster.
Gotcha. Well, speaking of dumpsters, we have Swell Slime. What the heck is Swell Slime?
Swirl Slime and Necro Slime. These guys are amazing monsters. These guys are run at 3 each.
Okay, so what do they do?
Swirl Slime, while in the hand, allows you to use itself and another DD monster you have in your hand as fusion materials to special summon a fusion monster from the extra deck. So,
I mean, we're going to look at them in a little bit. Are the DD fusions non-specific?
They are specific to their own archetype usually.
Right, but
usually they require just DD monsters. However, there are some cases like Beowulf that requires a DDD monster, and Executive Genghis that requires a level 5 or higher DD monster.
But pretty much always speaking, Swell Slime should be able to fusion summon with whatever you have.
That's yes. Nice. And it gets even better. In the graveyard, Swirl Slime can banish itself to special summon a DD monster straight from your hand.
Wow. Even more benefits for us.
Yep. On the contrast, we got Necro Slime, which, when this card's in the graveyard, gives you another fusion summon by banishing materials from the graveyard, including itself.
I'm starting to see where this is going now.
You can start to see the fusion spam aspect of the deck right now.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep, these guys are part of the bread and butter of the deck.
That's really incredible. 2 card fusions that just completely spam each other.
Yep. Usually you just swirl slime into with Necro slime and then Necro slime again.
Are they the pivot point of this deck? It feels very, very much like Mithra and Eidos for a Monarch deck.
Yeah, these guys are these guys are kind of your pivot points. There are other cards that are even better than these guys at cases, but that's just saying.
Cool.
Anyway, but yeah, these guys are a 3-0.
Very nice.